Skeleton. The shell of a snail is its skeleton. Skillful. Parker is a skillful football player. Skull. Can't David get it into his thick skull that Betty likes him? Sluggish. There is a sluggish management team in our company. Smolder. Sophie's eyes smolder with jealousy. Soar. A glider can soar for many miles. Socialize. In our company, the cafe is a place where colleagues can socialize with each other. Software. Writing the software for a computer center is my boyfriend's present job. Solar. The solar cell can convert the energy of sunlight into electric energy. Sort. What sort of fish do you want? The manager asked Jenny to sort these apples by size. Source. The sun is the ultimate source of energy. Spearhead. A spearhead of the airborne troops led the offensive. Our manager asked Hughes to spearhead the sales campaign. Species. The giant panda has become an endangered species. Spectacular. The athlete made a spectacular jump in the swimming pool. Spell. Our colleagues are expecting a spell of sunshine. LOVE spells love. Spiritual. The Pope is the spiritual leader of many Christians. Sponsor. You cannot get a work visa without an American sponsor. The rich lady had offered to sponsor a poor boy at university. Sprain. Peter thought his wrist might be broken, but it was just a bad sprain. The famous athlete's odds are very poor after he sprained his wrist. Stabilize. Today, the patient's condition has now stabilized. Stalemate. It's reported that negotiations have reached a stalemate. Stampede. Please think it over and don't be stampeded into buying the house. Status. In fact, some people are after wealth and status. Stick. Generally speaking, some children are fond of the sticks of candy. We stuck the posters all over the walls. Stock. It's said that the book is out of stock. This shop stocks all sizes. Storm. Generally speaking, the clouds threatened a big storm. Get out of here, she stormed, for her sons talking back. Strangle. The hooligan strangled the old woman with a piece of string. String. There are 4 strings on a violin. Lanterns were strung in the trees around the West Lake. Stultifying. Rose says her former company is very stultifying. Subcontractor. One of Mr. Miller's friends is a bricklaying subcontractor. Subpoena. Roy was subpoenaed as a witness yesterday. Subsidence. Jenny's house is insured against subsidence. Suffer. Joanna has learnt to suffer without complaining. Suicide. Turner's former boss attempted suicide after his firm had gone bankrupt. Supervise. Jane helped one of her friends supervise the whole department. Suppress. Generally speaking, each nation suppresses news that is not favorable to it. Surcharge. It's said that there may be a 10% surcharge on airline tickets. Surgeon. The young surgeon built himself a new surgery. Surgery. The famous surgeon is preparing for the surgery. Surplus. Generally speaking, Mexico has a surplus of oil. Surroundings. We think animals in zoos are not in their natural surroundings. Survival. For each of us, survival is our first imperative. In our new house, my father suspended the lamp from the ceiling. Sustain. Generally speaking, the sea wall must sustain the shock of waves. Swear. Generally speaking, before giving evidence, you have to swear an oath. Sympathize. Hill sympathized with Joan in her sufferings. Syndicate. It's reported a syndicate of local businessmen is bidding for the contract. Tabloid. Generally speaking, some tabloid papers are full of smut. Tariff. The government lowered the tariff on imported cars. Tarry. Don't tarry on the road. Tear. When she heard the news, the hot tears welled up in her eyes. Tear. Please tear a page out of your notebook if convenient. Telecommunication. The telecommunication service is a government monopoly in China. Temperance. John believes in temperance in all things. Tendentious. Generally speaking, such tendentious statements are likely to provoke strong opposition. Testify. The excellence of Shakespeare's plays testifies to his genius. Theory. It's said that Darwin spent more than 20 years working on his theory of evolution. Threaten. Generally speaking, dark skies threaten rain. Throat. I often have a sore throat when getting a cold. Tolerant. It's said that some plants are tolerant of extreme heat. Topple. Last night, the chimney toppled over on the roof. Totalitarian. Almost all governments adopt totalitarian measures in time of war. Towering debt. It's much easier to get into towering debt than to get out of debt. Trade balance. The trade balance last year showed a deficit of $1 billion. Trademark. Please notice the trademark on the cup. Transfer. Jim will be transferred to the Shanghai office. Translate. This novel has been translated into 5 languages. Transplant. It's said that Laura had a bone marrow transplant. Trauma. Barbara never recovered from the trauma of her son's death. Treatment. Please follow the treatment with plenty of rest in bed. Tremulous. The bride spoke her vows with tremulous modesty. Trigger. Hill took aim and squeezed the trigger. Generally speaking, a spark can trigger an explosion. Truculent. Our friends find Daniel truculent and unpleasant. Trump. He was lucky to have drawn a trump. What are you waiting for? Trump now. Tune. Generally speaking, a person out of tune with his surroundings is unhappy. The orchestra tuned their instruments before they started playing. Turbine. The disadvantages of the turbine is that it is not reversible. Turn. Generally speaking, girls easily get cheerful and depressed by turns. The earth turns round the sun. Tyranny. People have never forgot the tyrannies of his reign. Ulcer. Today, my mouth has an ulcer.